Hello and welcome back to my channel Autonomics. We are discussing theory of comparative cost advantage by David Ricardo. We have previously discussed the absolute advantage theory by Adam Smith. So let's start with the comparative advantage theory. Ricardo, in his book The Wealth of the Nation, propounded the theory of comparative cost advantage, which is the base for many classical theory of international trade, and it has been later improved by Taussig and Haberler. Ricardo states that a country will export a commodity that it has comparative advantage and will import the product in which it has comparative disadvantage. Thus, a country will export those commodities in which its comparative advantage is greater and import those commodities in which its comparative disadvantage is least. These are certain assumptions of his theory. First is there should be free trade without any government intervention, constant returns to scale, full employment, no technical change, that means technology is constant, 2-2 model, which is the two commodities and the two factors of production, that is labor and capital, and the trade takes place on the basis of barter economy, labor theory of value, no transportation cost is involved, perfectly mobile factors of production, and no trade barriers, which is one related to no government intervention as well, and no tariff and no restrictions on trade as well. Let us now see the explanation of the theory. So Ricardo states trade is possible between two countries when one country has absolute advantage in production of both the commodities as it is a two commodity and two factor of production case. So we'll only talk about two commodities, but has comparative advantage in production of one commodity than another. His famous example of Portugal and England who are producing wine and cloth. You can clearly see that Portugal has absolute advantage in production of wine and cloth both. It takes 80 and 90 units to produce 1 unit of wine and 1 unit of cloth, and on the other hand England takes 120 units to produce wine and 100 units to produce cloth. So it clearly shows that Portugal has an absolute advantage in production of both as compared to England. Now we will precisely talk about Portugal's comparative advantage. Okay, this was the case of absolute advantage. Now we'll talk about the comparative advantage. So you can see that Portugal not only has absolute advantage but comparative advantage in production of wine. How to calculate comparative advantage? It's like 80 upon 120 into 100 you will do, and then you will get it in a percentage form that 67% of labor is used to produce 1 unit of wine, whereas 90% of labor efforts are used to produce 1 unit of cloth. So producing wine is more favorable to Portugal. On the other hand, comparative advantage of England is in the production of cloth. Okay, it can produce wine with 150 efforts of labor, while it can produce 1 unit of cloth with 111% of efforts. How to calculate it? Again, in the similar manner. Now, hence, it is less inefficient for the production of cloth or have lesser disadvantage. So it has comparative advantage in the production of cloth, you can say. Now see this diagrammatic representation. P represents Portugal, E represents England. This is export, this is import, this is import, this is export. Now we have clearly seen that Portugal has comparative advantage in the production of wine. So Portugal will export wine and will import cloth from England. England has comparative advantage in production of cloth, so England will export cloth to Portugal and import wine, in which it has comparative disadvantage. So the cycle keeps on going like this, like a barter exchange. Okay, now we'll see the diagrammatic representation of Ricardo's theory. On the x-axis we are denoting good wine or good A, and on the y-axis we are denoting cloth. These are the PPCs of Portugal and England both, and ET represents the points where both of them will comply into trade. Limitations. So the theory of comparative advantage has been criticized by Burton Allen and Frank D. Graham. What were the major limitations, or what were the basic points of criticism? That it took the wrong assumption of indestructible powers of land. According to Ricardo, land has indestructible powers which cannot be demolished at any point of time, but it is actually not true. The fertility of the land differs, and also the usage of land differs. Rent enters into price. Rent is also the part of it. not only rent, but land has multiple uses to it as well. Perfect competition is also a very wrong assumption, does not works in real economy. And wrong assumptions of no rent land, because Ricardo ka agar aap land theory padhoge, you'll get to know that he has divided lands into different categories, and he has also assumed that there is a particular part of land which has no rent, which does not exist in real economy. Again, it also neglects the scarcity principle, that resources are scarce, that eventually the resources to sustain production will reduce. So these were the major limitations of Ricardian model. So yeah, this is all about the theory. We have discussed its background, its assumption, the explanatory part with the diagrammatic representation, the example, his famous example, the limitations. So if you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel and keep learning. Thanks for watching.